You know that saying, I'm your apple pie? No, that's not right. No, I know what it is. The saying is, she's my apple pie. No, that is Guns N' Roses. No, Guns N' Roses was cherry pie.
What are you talking about?
Damn, that's not it either. No. Man, what am I trying to think, brain? Apple of my eye. That's it. Apples are the big story of this week, and no, I'm not talking about those Apple computers.
Why?
Well, Apple just unleashed its new M3 chips a few days ago, and as expected, these things are pretty darn impressive. Now, I'll take you on a bit of a tour of the M3 chips here a little bit later, but first we're going to dive into a few other interesting stories as well in this exciting episode of Await. How fast was he going? Now you remember how the European Union ruled that electronic devices must have a common charging type and how ruling forced Apple to move to the USB-C ports for their products? Well, here's another effect of that ruling that nobody has seemed to think about up until recently. What about DSLRs?
What about them?
Now, in case you didn't know, DSLRs are not USB-C friendly.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, even newer DSLR models like Canon's EOS 1DX Mark III and Nikon's D6, I almost said D3. Anyways, both of which are 3 years old and can't be charged with USB-C, or USB rather.
I get it.
Now, instead, the batteries have to be taken out of the camera and charged in an external device or external battery charger. Now, if you already have a DSLR, then there's really no problem. Just keep charging your batteries like you have for years. But the issues with new DSLRs, so to comply with EU's directive, the new DSLRs would have to have a USB-C for charging. But obviously, DSLRs weren't designed with that in mind. And I don't know about you, but I don't see Canon, Nikon, or Pentax rushing to completely redesign the DSLR that they still have in production to meet the new EU standard. In other words, this could be the death of DSLRs for good. Now, there is some confusion about the EU's ruling, and this is how it's going to be interpreted. Now, one version states that these new rules won't apply to products that are already on the market, like the D6s and the EOS 1DX Mark IIIs of the world. Now, another version says that all devices sold in EU have to be equipped with USB-C charging port. Now, while there's a little confusion on that point, what is certain is that as of December 24th, 2024, it will be illegal to sell most electronic devices with removable batteries or integrated battery systems in the European Union. Now, companies will be allowed to sell their current stock of such items like the DSLRs, but new products that don't have a USB-C charging port are simply not going to be allowed. Now, technology currently exists that adds a USB-C charging port directly to the removable batteries, so that might be kind of a way, or kind of a workaround for camera companies to be compliant with EU's regulations without having to rework the design of all these DSLRs. However, if you ask me, I can't imagine Canon, Nikon, and other folks investing really any time and money into making their current DSLRs work with any of these new rules.
Don't see that happening.
DSLRs have been on the way out for, some time. Maybe this is the thing that's going to make them go away for good. Everyone thought Canon would unveil some new lenses before the year end, and hey, we were right. Now, just the other day, 3 new RF mount lenses, all zooms, were announced. Now, you have RF 24105, that's an f2.8 LIS USM-Z. You have the RF 200 to 800 millimeter, that's an f6.3 to 9 IS USM, and then you have the RFS 18 to 18 millimeter, 4.5 to 6.3 IS STM. Now, each of these lenses is really aimed at different purposes. Now, let's start with the tip of the sword, the gorilla in the room. I think I want to say 900-pound gorilla. Whatever, let's just go with it. It's the 24105 2.8 LIS USM-Z. This lens is pretty stinking cool. Now, Canon is marketing this lens as a faster, longer professional zoom, and you can see when you take a look at the specs why they're doing so. This is a full frame lens with an aperture range of f2.8 to f22. You have 2 nano USM motors for ultra quiet operation, 11 blade diaphragm with beautiful bokeh, optical image stabilization for improved handheld shots, 3 spherical elements and 4 UD elements for excellent image quality, SSC, ASC, and fluorine coatings to minimize ghosting, flares, and aberrations. Now, aside from the basic specs, this lens, this is a big deal because you typically don't see an f2.8 maximum aperture with this sort of zoom range. In fact, this is the first 24-105 millimeter lens with a f2.8 aperture. Next, we have the RF 200 to 800 millimeter. This is a f6.3 to 9. Now, this is a versatile and portable super telephoto option for wildlife, sports, and nature photographers. Now, it has features like a f6.3 to 9 to f54 aperture range, nano USM motor, focus control ring with 2 LFN buttons for customization, optical image stabilizer for sharper handheld shots, 3 UD elements and super spectra coatings for improved image quality. Now, all around 12 inches long, 4.5 pounds, it's certainly more compact and portable than previous lenses. Now, you can order it with a 1.4 or a 2x teleconverter to make this equivalent to a 280 to a 1120 millimeter or 400 to 1600 millimeter respectively. Now, the third lens is aimed squarely at budget-minded vloggers and content creators. Now, the 10 to 18 millimeter 4.5 to 6.3 is specifically designed for APS-C format EOS R cameras and has features like 4 stops of optical image stabilization, minimum focus distance of 5.5 inches with autofocus, or 3.4 inches with manual focus. STM autofocus system offers smooth and silent focusing, just 1.8 inches long and weighs 5.3 ounces. So this thing, it's a small little one. Now, with an effective focal length of 16 to 28.8 millimeters, this lens is likely going to be a huge hit for folks who simply want a ultra-wide lens to pair up with their APS-C camera.
End of the day.
That is not a bad lens dump if you ask me. There's something for everyone, and these lenses really make what is already an impressive family of RF glass all that more impressive.
It sure does.
Now, each lens is available for pre-order right now, and so if you want to be one of the first to get your mitts on one of these, friend, I will have a link down below so you can do just that. Now, a little while ago, when Apple started making its own chips, I was quickly to upgrade my old Intel-powered MacBook Pro to a M1 Max MacBook Pro. It was a game changer, the M1, and I hate that term, game changer. Either way, it really crushed it. The M1 Max chip absolutely blew away the Intel-powered MacBook in every respect. But now we are at the M3 generation of Apple Silicon, and boy, these things are pretty impressive. Now, for starters, the M3 series uses 3 nanometer technology, which is an improvement over the 5 nanometer technology that was used in the M2 range of chips. Now, given this big improvement in technology, the M3 chips represent a huge leap forward of features and performance. Now, a good example of this is the new feature called dynamic caching. And you may be saying, hey, Alex, what is that? Well, from what I gather, dynamic caching means that the chip will only use the exact amount of graphic memory required for each app. Now, this in turn increases the performance of apps by a wide margin over the M2 chips. Now, there are 3 M3 chips available. Now, the base M3 chip features the following. You have an 8-core CPU. Now, there's 4 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores that are up to 35% faster than the M1 chips and 20% faster than the M2 chips. You have 10-core GPU, which is 65% faster than the M1 chips and 20% faster than the M2 chips. You have up to 24 gigabytes of unified memory with 25 billion transistors. Now, the M3 Pro chip gets even more goodies.
Let's hear it.
You have up to 12 core CPUs, 6 performance cores, and 6 efficiency cores that are up to 20% faster than the M1 chips, up to 18 core GPU that's up to 40% faster than the M1 Pro chips, and 10% faster than the M2 chips, and up to 36 gigabytes of unified memory, 37 billion transistors.
Damn, these things are fast.
And then, of course, we have the M3 Max gets the top tier treatment. Now, up to 16 core CPU, 12 performance cores, 4 efficiency cores that are up to 80% faster than the M1 chips and 50% faster than the M2 Max chips. Now, up to 40 core GPU, which is 50% faster than the M1 Max chips and 20% faster than the M2 Max chips. and up to 128 gigabytes of unified memory. Oh, and 92 billion transistors. In other words, these chips are incredible. Well, friends, we're at the end of the video, and that was fast. I hope you guys enjoyed today's discussion. Be sure to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button down below. And while you're at it, leave a comment and let me know which one of these Canon lenses would you like to find underneath your Christmas tree this year. So until next time, friends.